Inspiration.com.
I come from a religious background. I am no longer a religious person, but I was raised as one. And my introduction to Christianity, when my mother, I'd get dragged to church. I didn't really know what was happening around me. Nobody really explained it to me. But one Sunday, I remember distinctly being in my room. My mother was in her bedroom, which was down a hall, but it was way on the other side of the house. And my mother yells to me, "Would you like to accept Jesus Christ today into your heart?" And I remember my response was, "Okay." Now, the way that Christianity was presented to me was in a bit of a fear-mongering way. I got the end of the world presented to me. And I got it presented to me in the form of movies. There was a series of religious films called, it's sort of the first one I think especially has a bit of a cult following and being a cheesy 70s, so bad it's good kind of a movie, called A Thief in the Night. And if I remember, it was Thief in the Night, A Distant Thunder. I think the third one was Mark of the Beast. There was a fourth one, I don't remember that one so well. But the point of it was to scare me into being a Christian. And it worked. I was terrified of, the rapture happening at any second, and I wasn't ready. And oh God, I'm going to have to go through all this. And if I can't be strong, and if I'm going to go to hell. But showing me these movies, seeking them out, wanting me to be exposed to them, my mother made a miscalculation. One day she rents for me a movie called The Rapture. Now, you'd say to yourself, The Rapture sounds like a Christian movie to me. I'm trying to scare my kid into being a Christian. I'll rent that for him. Yeah. Do you see this picture of David Duchovny fucking Mimi Rogers on the back cover? This isn't the kind of movie my mom thought it was. And she put it on and left the room, and I watched it all the way through. The Rapture. Okay, let's get into this. And I'm going to say up front, spoilers for this, because there's no way for me to talk about why this movie is awesome without talking about the end of the movie. This movie it treats Christianity as true, but as a cult, really. Like, there is a God, there is a rapture, all this stuff, but it's a cult, and there's a creepy cult feeling to it, okay? Mimi Rogers plays this woman who is a swinger, and she has this partner, and they go to sex parties, and they have orgies, and that's where my little 10, 11-year-old mind went. And one day, people where she works are talking about this dream that they're all having. Because it's going to be the end of the world. It's going to be the end of the world, and the believers, they're starting to get the dream to let them know that this is coming. This is going to be, they're going to be raptured, and it's true, and it's happening. Oh God! And she falls into it, right? David Duchovny is a guy that she's having fun with, but the two of them, they buy into it, and they join the cult, and they become very kind of the creepy Christians. You know the creepy Christians. You know them when you see them. The ones where you're like, okay, take a step back from me, please. No, I don't want your pamphlet. Please, move along. They have a child together. David Duchovny dies. And Mimi Rogers decides that, because the end of the world is imminent, she's going to just take her daughter and they're going to go out into the desert and they're going to wait for the rapture. And the rapture doesn't come, and it doesn't come, and it doesn't come. And the kid is hungry and cold, and, Mimi Rogers her faith starts to not disintegrate. She still believes in God, but she starts to lose her love for God. She starts to see God as cruel, as manipulative, as not someone to be worshipped, but someone to be despised. And finally, completely lost, completely hopeless, Mimi Rogers shoots her daughter in the back of the head because she doesn't want her to suffer anymore. She doesn't want her to, that she's made a horrible mistake coming out into the desert, and this little girl's hungry and cold, and this little girl just wants to go to heaven and see her daddy again. So Mimi Rogers kills her. She's arrested. She's in a jail cell. And then the rapture happens. Holy shit. The rapture comes. The four horsemen start riding. People start disappearing. Fucking bonkers, right? This movie goes crazy at the end. And this is where it's great. And this is where you got to stick with this movie, because it can be slow and meandering, and you're kind of wondering what the point is. The point is the last 90 seconds of this movie, right? And again, I've spoiled most of it. I'm going to spoil the last 90 seconds of the movie. Mimi Rogers, it's strange in that I think kind of everybody gets raptured, right? Because Mimi Rogers, she finds herself in this black void. She's not in heaven. Heaven is off in the distance, right? And her daughter appears before her, and her daughter says, "Mommy, I want you to come with me. I want you to come to heaven with me. Daddy's there, but you have to love God." And Mimi Rogers says, I can't. He took you away from me. It wasn't right what happened. This was what God did to us was terrible. And her daughter's begging her, "Mommy, please just say you love God." And Mimi Rogers refuses. And her daughter says, "Well, you know what that means, right? You can't get into heaven, and you're just going to be here forever, alone in this black void." Well, Mimi Rogers says, "I know." And that's it. Daughter disappears. Camera pulls out of this lone woman with nothing around her. And this is her eternity. And she chose it. She chose it. She believed in God. Maybe that's what got her raptured. I don't know. But she believed in God, but she didn't love God. And so, it's a very interesting movie. And it's interesting because it's not a Kirk Cameron production. It's not, God's Not Dead. It's a thoughtful, adult, R-rated movie that examines religion in a serious way. It takes religion and says, this is real. But what does it mean? That is bold to do that. That is fascinating. That's interesting. This movie, I'm not going to say it's for everybody. It's not. It's a little art movie. And some people are going to find it slow. Some people are going to find it boring. Some people are going to be offended by it. See, I miss those days. I miss those days when a movie could come out and say, yeah, this is going to piss some people off, but it's a good movie, but we don't care. I miss those days. Sometimes to make great art, you have to risk offending some people. Hell, maybe the point of your piece of art is to offend some people. The Rapture, I'm giving this 3.5 out of 5 stars. Not a religious person, but I do appreciate a good story when I get it. I love Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ. I love a movie came out a few years ago called The Last Days in the Desert. Both movies about stories about Jesus that aren't preachy, that are examining things, that are looking at things in an interesting way and not shoving a message down your throat. This movie is not A Thief in the Night. And consequently, The Rapture is a movie that 30 some years later, I still remember and I still enjoy and I can still be moved by. While A Thief in the Night is something that I would only watch with a few friends and a lot of booze. The worlds.
Sort of gave myself the challenge of, okay,